Welcome back to the Puck Bunker. This is episode 24. I'm Rocco Zappia, joined as always by my co-host, Darren the Land Baron Boyce. How are you doing this evening?
Doing all right, Rocco. Just getting ready for Thursday night. What are you up to tonight?
Oh, I've got a very important beer league game. Beer league playoffs start tonight, right in the middle of February on schedule, and I couldn't be more excited. But what I'm looking forward to even more than that is Thursday night's rematch for the Four Nations Championship, Canada versus USA, Game 2, and that's going to be our topic for the day. Is the Four Nations review a couple of the earlier games and preview the game to come. So, Darren, obviously we got to start with that first game, Canada-US. That was probably the most insane hockey that I can really remember seeing. I don't know that I've ever seen 3 fights in the first 10 seconds of a game before. And if I have, I'm not really remembering it off the top of my head, but that was just, dude, I know we're Canadian, but holy frig, those Kachuk brothers are something else.
Well, that reminded me of growing up at the old London Ice House. If anyone, any listener remembers that place, there was always fights to start games there. It was about 7 years old. Team won 3 games and be fighting 8 times every game. But anyway, in terms of a hockey game of that magnitude, it was. For fans, I think it was quite entertaining, and I think a good part about this is it's actually kind of resonated and gone viral in the States, which is actually a good thing for the game in general. That's kind of what you want here. And frankly, as somebody who also watches basketball, this has absolutely destroyed their all-star break. The basketball all-star break was a joke. And this has now, and a lot of people have kind of acknowledged how big of a difference this weekend ended up being. So this is a big win for the NHL.
I would hope that there wasn't any doubt that they would like destroy NBA All-Star game with a best on best. I didn't even realize that was even part of the competition there for them for ratings. I figured a true best on best tournament, and obviously that's what happened. But I mean, good for them. John Cooper, I think, said the other day, he's like that this tournament kind of has done more for hockey than anything in the last 10 years, really. And I don't disagree. And I think coming into it, people are like, oh, it was 4 teams, whatever, this and that. Let's see how it is. But it took the drop of one puck to show everyone what this tournament meant to the players. And I don't really necessarily think there was any doubt that once the game started that would be the case. It's still Canada USA, but that was an incredible hockey game despite us not getting the result necessarily that we wanted.
Well, the hockey game was good. The start of the game was the best part. When you start a game with that much tension with 3 fights, it's really hard not to be engaged in the game.
McDavid opening the scoring was pretty sweet.
That too, but I think I saw a clip today where people were talking about like how can you start a sporting event like in a better way. So it's literally like a kickoff return or like a leadoff home run, and like even that's not really the same, right? And like you can't really match that in basketball either. So the fact that you had that happen from an entertainment value is literally the best way you can start a game. Then they have some other, again, these are 2 pretty hardcore rivals to begin with in terms of hockey. Really, yeah.
Those examples that you mentioned, like a leadoff home run or a kickoff return touchdown. I think this is different because in those instances, that's like a momentum swinging play where one team clearly like takes an early momentum in the game. Whereas this, all it did was jack up both teams to the nth degree.
Well, and the fans, like it's the entertainment value,
Yeah.
right? Like this is
Yeah.
the whole point of why we're watching. It's entertainment. That's elite entertainment. And again, some people won't like it. I'm a big fan of fighting in hockey. I think there's a place for it in the game. And you know what? Everyone in that building was cheering when they were fighting. So
Yeah,
and everyone's talking about it. So
I think I do agree that there's a place for it in the game. No doubt in my mind. I don't have time for like the late 90s, early 2000s staged fight where it's like there's a designated kind of goon on each team that really like They go out one shift a game, they fight the other guy, and it's staged, and it's like when there's emotion behind it like this, and like even though this was kind of staged, it was also like purely emotionally charged at the same time, and stuff like that. I've got all the time in the world for when it happens in the heat of the moment, heat of battle. I think the guys should be allowed to settle it, and equally, I don't have time for fighting just for the sake of it. But that's not what this was. This was some of them like the most exciting 10 seconds in sports.
Entertainment, man. That's it's the whole goal here. You want to get
Now,
eyes on your sport. It's
now,
entertainment.
do you think that we're going to see a few more 5-minute majors in this championship game, or do you think because of the magnitude that okay, the first one was a round robin, you knew you're probably going to play each other again, and that's the time to get it out, or do you think we're going to see that carry over and see more fisticuffs in the final?
Um, you could if something maybe happens with a big hit or something like that. I doubt there's going to be anything to start the game. I do think Canada will be more prepared for it, perhaps. The U.S. was kind of the aggressor there. And, I'd say the U.S. was the aggressor to start the game, even though I think Canada won 2 of the 3 fights. But the U.S. made a
Hmm.
conscious effort to be aggressive against them, and it may have surprised them a little bit. Um, but then again, Canada scored pretty early in that game. Um, but from a U.S. perspective, I think they played pretty close to a perfect hockey game. I don't know if they can do that again. Now, again,
Well, they
you
didn't
have
let much to the middle there that game at all.
well, again, you have these high level lineups, so it is more of a possibility than maybe a normal regular season game. They can play that type of game again. I mean, they have an elite goaltender. They're basically clogging up the neutral zone. I mean, basically playing a 1-2-2 the entire game. Um, they're forcing Canada, to kind of get into the zone and make stuff happen there. In which case, they would counter them when they made a mistake, and that's how they scored twice.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to do that again against guys like
That's
McDavid.
a tough way. That's a tough way to have to score on the cycle against a team that's much bigger than you is tough.
It is, but again, you have to play a perfect game. Like John Tortorella is on their bench, right? Like that was a classic John Tortorella type game,
Yeah.
and they can do that. They can definitely win that way. But I wonder too. Like Canada's again you're gonna have 3 days here to kind of approach the game, get a good game plan here. So we'll see what they do. Probably goes into the new look lines will probably help a little bit here too. But I mean, it was a good hockey game. But after the fights, the game kind of just shut down. Like I mean, wasn't really any penalties after that. There's a lot of passion in the game, but it wasn't just completely fight night the entire night. Like it was the US
No,
did a really
no, but
good
it
job of
was
shutting
never.
down the game.
It was never gonna be. I don't think like short of a line brawl. I don't think you're gonna see 5, 6 guys taking fighting majors here. I think the point was made that they're here to try to be the aggressors, like you said. Um, I don't think Canada felt intimidated by it. I think they're more than comfortable playing a rough and tumble game. The guys who fought were more than happy to step up, and like you said, they may have got the better of them in the fights. Anywho, um, I don't know that we'll see that again. I would not be surprised if there was maybe one dust up at some point throughout the game, but I feel like in that situation in the final, the coach is gonna, if one team goes after the other physically in a you know glove dropping sort of manner, I feel like a coach might in that situation be like, "Hey guys, it's the finals. Take the punch to the face in the 2-minute power play."
Possibly. I mean, the US may have also employed this tactic maybe a game too early. I mean, maybe that also could be possible here.
No, I think if they're gonna do it, that was the game to do it because it
I'm
didn't
just
mean as much.
they won the game, right? So I mean, like that might have been the tactic to maybe wait to employ. But again, I mean, it was great entertainment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect there to be 3 fights off the first 10 seconds. No.
No, I'd
Um,
be I'd be quite surprised there, and I'm sure the Kachuk's grandmother has already given them hell for that first game, anyways. So she doesn't like the fighting, but the guys, oh my god, they were something else. What did their dad say? Those two are lunatics, I think,
It'd be
is the
really
word.
nice to see Brady in the playoffs. That would be good.
Well, I'm like, okay, so from a Sens fan perspective, that was just like, oh my god, I'm like, we need to make the playoffs this year. So this guy can be. I've been convinced for a long time, but I think that shows in a high stake situation that guy is. I'm just going to say it. He turns into one of the best players in the world.
I think Ottawa would be very good in a playoff format, just with the way
I
their
think,
team makeup is. They just have to make the playoffs, and
yeah,
that's what's
I
against
would
a
maybe
different
like them to.
animal. So
Now there's some things that they can shore up, and I don't want to turn this into a Sens talk podcast, but yeah, I don't disagree with him leading the charge. Even if they lose, they're gonna take you down with them, I think, in a sense.
yeah,
Um, the biggest difference, though, I think, coming into this next game, and is like you said, there's been some new look line combinations. I thought Canada's lines versus Finland were extremely effective. Braden Point is the right guy to play with McDavid and Stone. I think that line construction was really, really effective for them. Point's a smaller guy, but he's more than happy to go be the digger and do the greasy work on the line, which I don't know when Marner was on that line that was the right kind of mesh, I guess. Marner and McDavid are both pretty good puck carriers. But the lines worked quite well. Crosby and McKinnon have an obvious chemistry. Reinhart fit in well with them. And then Marner on the third line with Cirelli and Hagel. Didn't mind that fit at all. Now the big thing is on the defensive pairs. They got Cale Makar back, and that could be the biggest X factor here coming into the finals.
well, okay. I like the line combos, specifically the first two lines. I think those lines work a lot better. We had talked about kind of as this tournament was going on that they should try Braden Point with McDavid. I thought that was a kind of a better fit in general.
Well, he's a high hockey sense player, right?
Well, so's Mark Stone. So that line actually works pretty well. Stone gives him a little bit change of pace. He can almost, again, maybe not entirely the same kind of, McDavid's used to playing with Zach Hyman, right? Like he can kind of employ that role. I mean, if you look at both goals, Stone was kind of, one of them he's screening the goalie, the other one he's just right there jamming for the puck on the other one. Like it's
he's a great playmaker too, right? Like he'll
yeah,
find
he
some.
is. No, absolutely. I'm just saying he can kind of employ that Zach Hyman role, maybe that they're looking for there. The other two guys can kind of move the puck around. He can get open. He can, find space. And Mark Stone's smart. I mean, that line's very intelligent. So, I mean, you do hear a lot of people saying Mark Stone can't keep up. I mean, we've made fun of that before, that he's not the best skater. Does everything else really well. I think if you watch these games, closely, you can see that. Wins a lot of puck battles, and again, he's in good spots a lot of the time to
Mark
make.
Stone has never been able to keep up, and no matter what, he's always been one of the best players on the ice. He's a smart. He's lit like, and he's got the best defensive stick in the whole league. He's still in his 30s, forces the most, or right up near the top, if not number one, in terms of positive turnover differential for his team every year. There's a few years that he led it by a wide margin too.
Yeah.
He's never gotten enough credit because the casual fan, and he does not jump off the page. He actually looks kind of out of place skating up and down the ice, but he's pretty much the smartest player on every team he's ever been on, maybe other than this one. And he can fit in with star players because the brain's a great equalizer. If he knows where he needs to be well before you do, doesn't matter if you can beat him to the race, because he's going to get there first anyways. And that's what we've seen his entire career. And we got to watch him for several hundred games here in Ottawa before the dumbest fucking trade in franchise history.
Well, look at who they played him with. They played with Crosby and they played him with McDavid. So, I mean, there's obviously something there. There's a reason why.
Well, yeah, because John Cooper is smart. He knows, but like John Cooper's not the casual fan who doesn't know how to pick up Mark Stone. Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Now,
so it's good that he's getting his recognition and his due, because he deserves it.
Yeah, he does. Now I liked line two. Again, McKinnon and Crosby have some good chemistry. I thought Reinhart fit in well. I mean, the third line was okay.
McKinnon and Crosby in on what, 8 or 9 of Canada's 10 goals?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that their first two lines are good. I think they should just kind of roll those two guys two lines out close to the game.
They're good. Good. He says the two best forwards in the league, and maybe one of the best Canadians of all time. Just good. Darren Boyce is a tough man to please. It's
Well,
first
I
two
didn't.
lines.
Okay,
First
well, I
two lines
didn't
are
like the McDavid line with Marner on it. I thought it, it wasn't working well. I didn't think Marner really worked with McDavid very well. Again, as he said, two puck handlers. Marner's kind of a more perimeter guy.
you
I didn't
think,
like how that. Even again, we were talking about Stone. Like, yeah, maybe he can't keep up, but the way he plays the game, he actually keeps up mentally. Whereas with Marner, I just didn't see where it was working for them.
no.
So now we have two. I think we have two lines that we can throw out there that are going to be the best line on the ice the entire game if you throw them out there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of finding this third line combination that works best. Um, so I'm not sure if the Marner, Sorelli, Hagel lines really, they played okay. I didn't mind it, but it wasn't ideal. I wonder if there's another combination maybe there that they explore. I'm not sure. But in terms of the deep pairs, I mean, I think Drew Doughty's actually been quite good this tournament, which I came into this tournament kind of a little bit nervous about what
The
he was.
problem is with their bottom sixes are they're small.
They are small, but I
That's
mean,
the issue with it,
so
is that they're
well, if we talk
small.
about the
Now
if we
Bennett,
talk about
Marchand,
forwards,
Hagel, three of the toughest guys in the league. Bennett, Marchand, and Hagel, but they're small, but they're three of the toughest guys in the league. But it's just hard to find um it's hard to find the right combination there. I think maybe Marchand and Marner maybe belong on a line together.
well, again, they haven't had much time to explore this, right? This is why this tournament's beneficial for, say, an Olympics, and that like you get a good idea of which is one of these line combinations work.
Yeah.
So I wonder maybe if they try maybe something different with those bottom six and just try and maybe it's Bennett with some two of those wingers somehow, and maybe only roll maybe only roll three lines, but we'll see. I mean, he's had John Cooper's a smart coach. Now, again, I was just going to the deep pairs there. I did want to mention that Drew Doughty's had a good tournament. That's what I was kind of going for there. Again, I was
Yeah.
worried about what he was going to bring. Yeah, I was just worried about what he was going to bring in general, just from being injured.
Yeah.
He's been really good, and he's been good for a long time. And I mean, if there's a guy I shouldn't have been questioning, it's probably him because he always tends to bring his best when it's the best guys playing.
Well, he's a first ballot Hall of Famers, won multiple Stanley Cups, won gold medals with Team Canada. I mean, the guy knows how to win, plain and simple. So I completely agree. And despite being a late addition, I mean, there was no doubt to me that he was going to come in and add some sort of stabilizing factor. I mean, he's okay. He's not the Sidney Crosby of defensemen. I think Crosby's obviously a different level, but he's still a Hall of Fame defenseman in terms of like being looked up to and being respected by guys on this team who grew up watching him. I mean, he does take that role right on this team, and I think there is something to be said about that because, like, I don't know who your favorite player growing up was. Like mine was Doug Gilmour, and which is funny because I'm a Sens fan, but if I ever got the chance to play on the same team as Doug Gilmour, no matter how old he was, I would go out there and I would play my 125% best every second of the game because that's my idol that I looked up to. And a lot of these guys are in that situation with Doughty and Crosby specifically. And I do think that even though they're getting older now, Sid is still at the top of his game, but even though Doughty is getting older and father time's undefeated, he's still playing a very, very, very high quality, effective game. And he brings that leadership and legacy element that the young guys really look up to.
Yeah, I think too, like I just want to give credit to the medical staff in this because he's come back and again, that was a really bad injury he had. Like he broke his leg.
Yeah.
And he's come back and he played like 4 games for the Kings and now he's playing in this tournament, which is literally the highest level hockey he could possibly be playing in. And he's arguably maybe been their best defenseman. I mean, Makar was out the one game. He's played every game. He's playing like 20 minutes, like close to 20 minutes. Like
Taves and Morrissey have been pretty good.
Yeah, but again, the fact that we're even talking about that is more just reflection of him as a player. Like, good
Speaking
for
of
him.
I actually thought Harley was very, very good, and I thought he maybe deserved to get another game in. But at the same time, it's hard when he was the injury replacement not to make him the scratch at the same time.
Thomas Harley's good though. Like he's kind of underappreciated because Yeah, like
Was
he's
just
in
young.
Dallas. He's not the main guy there, so you kind of maybe some of
Yeah,
the casual onlookers don't see him as often, but like he is a legitimate. I think he's a legitimate top pairing defenseman.
he is, dude. He's sick.
Yeah, yeah, he's
He's
very
sick.
good. Now he might not put up maybe the immense point totals of some of these guys. He could maybe if he was thrust in that situation.
Well, okay. So Petrangelo never put up immense point totals. One of the
No,
best
I
defenders,
know. I'm just
and I
saying,
think
like they have
Harley,
ice
like
skating. He's never going to.
no, but I think Harley could be like consistently over 40, 45 points, and in his best years, 50s and maybe touch of 60s.
He's definitely he'll be over 40. He was over 40 last year. I think he'll be over
Oh, I
40
know
again
that's
this
what
year.
I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
he's really good, and he played well. I just wanted to mention that. Now, if on the American side, that line of Eichel and Fulton Reed and Dean Portman, I like that line a lot.
Well, yeah, we talked about that in the other show we did. That
No,
there was two lineup potentials there if you put the Tkachuks either with Matthews or Eichel, and they chose to put him with Eichel, and that line's worked really well. And I'm really not shocked by that. That is a bit like Jack Eichel's big. Now he
yeah.
might not be physical per se, but like he's a big guy. He's hard to play against. It's hard to get off the puck, and he's a good playmaker. Like he's a good fit for those guys.
Oh,
Um,
he's phenomenal. But I think as center, it would be hard pressed not to fit in well with those two guys.
well, I think it's hard pressed not to fit in with Jack Eichel either, right?
No, and
But like,
that's yes, and that's also fair. But I felt like that's been I feel like that's been by far their best line.
mhm. I think it's actually another thing, maybe not totally getting talked about. There's a couple people maybe mentioning like Jack Eichel is a legitimate superstar. Like, and he's like a lot of people like kind of again, he was the number 2 pick in the McDavid draft. He's legitimately
Well,
is he a top 10 player in the league? Is he close?
close. He's a career point a game player, and he's won a Stanley Cup. Like he's doing
Yeah.
it right. He's doing it right. Jack Eichel. He had a lot of really bad injury problems, but like, yeah, is he 150 point Connor McDavid? No, but he's still one of the, if not top 10, top 15 players in the world. Franchise player.
Yeah. Like he's legitimately one of the top centermen in the league. I think it's pretty noticeable in this tournament as well.
I'd say he's a top 10 center for sure, if not a
Top
top
10 center, but I maybe even go in like a top 10 player, even like it's very again, everybody has to account for where he is on the ice.
Okay,
Like,
who's it?
that's
Who
very
would be
noticeable.
who would be for sure ahead of him? McDavid, McKinnon,
Makar,
Makar, Draisaitl.
sure. Like Barkov, like I don't know, like
Barkov, yeah.
Crosby, like I don't know how many more
Okay.
there are.
Hughes. I don't
I
know
don't
either.
know. Like I don't know. So that's where we're at. He's like eighth,
Kucherov.
maybe.
Kucherov.
Yeah. So, but we're at what 8 or 9. So yeah, he's right around maybe top 10 somewhere there.
So eight guys, probably no debate ahead, but I mean he's right there in that 9 to 15 range. Like, anyways, point being, the guy has been everything.
Yeah, he's sick.
He's been everything that he was ever advertised to be and more.
Yeah.
Um, and he gets to play with the Bash brothers. That's got to be fun.
A lot of space for him.
No kidding. Goaltending, Darren. What do we think about the goaltending situation heading into the finals?
So Binnington's odd because he's actually his underlying numbers are interesting because he's basically made the exact same amount of expected saves as he's supposed to have.
Yeah, the
And
problem is he's made a bunch of saves he wasn't supposed to, and then let in some fucking stinkers, dude.
yeah, that's the problem. So, I mean, this isn't Carey Price, but he does have the capability of playing a better game than this if he just stops letting in, the bad goal every game, which is doable for an NHL goaltender. But it also doesn't give you a ton of confidence when that's what we're worried about here.
But I don't want the feeling it makes your whole team play on edge when you're worried about, is the next shot going to be the weak one?
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I mean, he's gotten beat low blocker twice, and he's been off his angle both times. Like, that's kind of concerning to me. I mean, he's not really on the puck there, but they're good shots. Like, these guys are so good, like they're going to hit that spot. Like, it's just,
I found that he just looks like he's got happy feet in his crease a little bit.
well, he's just like, look, when you're he isn't getting a ton of shots. It's kind of there is something to it that it's harder to kind of play that way. Um, he does move a fair amount in the net anyway.
That's what I
Um,
mean.
but when he's on, like he's really on. But when he's off, then a stinker or two happens, and that's the difference between winning and losing at that level.
Well, it
Um,
is, especially in the final game, the championship game.
and you have the best goalie in the world basically right now at the other end, or one
I
of them playing like that.
firmly disagree with that, but that's
Well,
fine.
no, but he's playing the best of everyone right now. He has basically a 960 save percentage in this tournament.
Yeah.
And the United States also have a very good defense core that can insulate him. Whereas, like, again, I find him to be more a blocking style goaltender than maybe an athletic big guy, but he's very good at the style that he plays. And if
Yeah.
they're not going to give up a ton of chances, I mean, I like him here because he's going to make the first save every time. Like, that's really what he's going to do. And
Yeah.
he's very good at that.
Now, if you can get inside into the middle and really get him moving laterally, that's when you can beat him. But it's hard. It's hard to do against a Team USA.
Yes. And that's why I think that's why he works very well as their goaltender. But even for him too, this is a big game for him because he's struggled in the playoffs lately, and he kind of needs something like this, maybe for his career. This could be a real, say he plays really well in this game and they win. This could really help him moving forward, especially give him more confidence going into a stretch run in the playoffs. For
Yeah,
the Jets, this could be really big for him.
I agree with that. Now, the nice thing that to counter that, the nice thing is that with Bennington, despite his very career streakiness, um, he comes up in big games, or he's tended to come up in big games. Um, and that's, I think, that is what you need. He is, for all of his quirks, he is a big game goalie, and we can say that about him because he's done it before
He's played a cup final in Boston, so like
and won
it's nothing new. It
and won.
shouldn't be anything. Yeah, it shouldn't be new for him.
That's what I mean.
So I don't think the moment would be too big for him.
Oh,
It just needs to feel good about his game.
that's an equalizer for them, I
Yeah.
think. There's
Yep.
a guy that's gotten up for big games before, but I mean, Aiden Hill has too. He's also won a cup.
Yeah. No, he has, but I mean that they're not going that route.
Oh,
So
they're not. They're not. They're all in there with Bennington. That's fine. Like you said, he's been there before. He's done it before. He stepped up in big moments, and I think we're going to see him play at the top of his game.
could be a bit. That would be. I know it's one game, but that could be again big for him, kind of moving forward here. Um,
Well,
enhance his reputation a little bit from this tournament. Maybe give him some confidence as well moving forward here too.
yeah, silence the critics a little bit because he
Yeah.
does have detractors. There's no doubt.
Mhm.
Now, another big storyline is Quinn Hughes. Is he playing? Is he not playing? As of 4 hours ago, it looked like he was getting on a plane. And as of 20 minutes ago, it looked like he wasn't quite getting on a plane yet.
No,
Because
he was at practice.
now the real question is, who is going to take a sharp object to Hannafin or Sanderson so that the US can find a way to get him into the lineup? Or do they declare one of these forwards out and go 11-7 and bring Hughes on? Like, you have to consider that option. He's probably their best defenseman for sure.
I do wonder if someone wakes up with a sore neck or a sore back
Well,
in the next 2 days.
that's what I mean. Unexplained, whatever.
Look, I'm going to say this. If they're going to have best on best tournaments and maybe best on best international windows in that, make it like soccer. Like you have a window once or twice a year. If a guy's hurt or a guy, isn't feeling well, they can just bring in another guy.
Oh, you
And it
mean
can
like
be whoever it is. It shouldn't. I know they're making this rule where it's like, well, 2D have to be out to bring a guy in. I think they should probably just be like, if one guy's out, you can bring in whoever you want. But the guy you're taking out can't play in that window again. I think
so we could just bring in Mark Scheifele and Tom Wilson.
Yeah, but then the other guys couldn't play in that window again. Like they'd have to actually be hurt. But like,
No, that would be cool. But at the same time, in a short tournament, and like, I think the guys who were named to the team deserve to play.
yeah, like again, Hughes hasn't been there for the week and a half. Like that's
Oh.
again, he's getting thrust into a lineup with guys he hasn't been playing with for the last week and a half. Like it's not easy to do. It's not just a guarantee he's going to fit right in that lineup. It's going to work.
No, and as of right now, it doesn't look like he's going to play. But
No.
that would negate, not all the way because Makar is way better, but it would negate a lot of the advantage that Canada is going to have with Cale Makar back in the lineup. Because I mean, that is, if he's not the third best player in the league, he might be the first, honestly.
I mean, it kind of negates it, but again, he hasn't been playing with these guys, so it's not entirely the same. Like you can be
not the same. Nobody is Cale Makar. I'm convinced.
No, I know that, but I mean just in general. Like it's when you haven't played with a group of guys in a sport, like you're probably not going to play your best just literally stepping out there and playing with them. You haven't even a practice. Like it's just you're probably not going to have your best game.
Okay, but it's different when you're the best at your position available.
Like I don't think it matters though. I think it's still hard. It's a team sport. Like it's hard to do.
No, I know that. But if you have the chance to add him, you do.
Sure, absolutely. I'm just saying it's not just this guarantee that he's going out there and like haven't practiced with them and go dominate the game. He could, but I wouldn't count on that.
No, and that's fair. But I mean, if the option was there to add him, they would be adding him. Like,
yeah.
No question about it. Now, what do you think we're going to see here in this final on Thursday night?
I think Canada's going to pump them.
Pump them?
Yeah.
Define pump.
5-2.
5-2. You think they're going to win by 3?
I think, yeah. One, maybe an empty netter, but yeah.
Interesting.
They're mad. They lost. Like the team's motivated. They came out it was 4-0 versus Finland, like the first 15 minutes.
Okay, so what the fuck happened to them at the end of the game? Were they just all looking forward to the final already?
Probably. And their goalie gave up, and like
that scared me. Those 3 goals right in a row. I'm like, holy, like guys, like come on.
Okay, that can scare you, but I'm going to use the other part of that. Look at the first 55 minutes of that game.
Okay, well, it's a 60-minute sport.
That's fine. I'm going to go with that part because again, they've played 3 games together, so now they're going to have a 4th game together, and they're going to be even better. And they have 2.5 days to prepare for it. Which these guys are NHL pros. Like when you have time to prepare for teams, like that helps. And it's also really hard for teams this good. It's really hard to beat them twice in a row
because they'll adjust.
It's just hard. Like these would be 2 really, think of it as like the 2 best teams in the playoffs. Yep. It's really hard to beat them on a back-to-back or like one game in the next game. It's really hard to beat them. No, like you have to play 2 perfect games to beat them.
It is for sure. I agree. I don't know. No, I don't think it's going to be a pumping, but I do think, and obviously a little bias here, but I do think Canada is going to win. And I'll underscore it one more time, the value that Cale Makar adds to that lineup that they didn't have the first matchup with the Americans.
They can move the puck better now, which is a problem they kind of had against, playing against a 1-2-2. Like they have a defenseman that can literally move the puck really well. The best in the world. Yeah. It's a big difference.
I think this little tournament's been a 10 out of 10 home run success for the league. And I think it sets up now they're talking about doing World Cup every 4 years, like the same way the Euro or whatever offsets the World Cup in soccer. The World Cup of hockey, consistently, we see what it means to the guys. We see what it means to the fans. We see what it means to the growth of the game. I think politics and financial interests have gotten in the way for far too friggin' long. And, the fact that there's been over 10 years or whatever, since 9 years, since there's been a true best on best, and this is debatably not even that without Russia and the Czechs. And it's been way too long, and it's sad to see. Like, we could have been watching, and Sid's still at the top of his game, but we could have had him and McDavid in their true primes together on the team, right? And we missed opportunities, and I think the league is now conscious of that because of how well received this has been. And I'm hopeful that they don't make the same mistake again moving forward, and they keep the interest of the game and the fans first and foremost.
It's one of the biggest mistakes they've made is not realizing how important international, competition is. It's one thing that soccer has done really well. They realize how important their international competitions are. They realize how important those windows are. There's no reason why hockey can't have a Four Nations tournament at All-Star breaks. There's no reason they can't, other than owners and money involved, and they'll be upset their players might get hurt. Now, I'm gonna counter this though.
I don't think it should be every year.
Okay, but it could be the year before the Olympics each time. It's a preview of the Olympics. Like, they can do something. You can have more international windows where also these guys actually play together more. It just makes the hockey even better because they know how to play with each other. Like, it's not like they're not going to have these 3 games where they're getting used to each other every turn because they haven't played with anyone for 5 years. Like that.
Well, if you do a proper tournament, though, it's going to be a 5 to 6 game preliminary round robin. By the time they get to the elimination games, they're well-oiled machines.
They are then, but it's just saying, like, think again. It's like international soccer. Like, you have windows, but these teams all know how to play with each other. So you get the best product when you get to those higher end competitions in these, like, you get the best teams.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, that's what I want to see. And the other thing is too, like, they talk about wanting to grow the game. This is how you grow the game.
With international, yes.
Yeah. Like, look how much more interested people in the States are just from one game.
Dude, I've been seeing
literally one United States hockey game. That they've had 3 games in 9 years. It took one of them.
Yep. I've been seeing highlights of the Indian national team scoring. Like, they have a national team now. They're scoring goals and they're in the lowest level, whatever, but they're like, they have a team. There's hockey now in India because of a national program that exists.
I'm not going to lie. I think maybe the 2 most shared highlights of U.S. hockey after this year will probably be TJ Oshie scoring 4 goals and them fighting the first 9 seconds of that game.
Especially if they win.
Those will literally be the 2 things that went viral. And it's international competition. So it's not a Stanley Cup. Again, I love the NHL. I love professional sports. Professional sports are a lot different than international sport.
Well, because there's something to be said. Like, you have professional sports, which are usually concentrated to a few countries, really. And the city, right, exactly. And the city have different fan bases within them. It's rare to have, in the case of the United States, 350 million people all cheering for the same damn squad. And it's something that only an international event can do in terms of bringing fans together for the love of the game.
Their biggest sports moment of all time is international hockey event. That's really all I have to say. It's an international hockey game. And we didn't have international best on best for 9 years. So, like, I don't know how that happens.
Well, if you counterpoint, that wasn't a best on best tournament anyways.
Well, yeah, but they were playing one of the best teams in the world. They're playing Russia.
I know. Russia sent their best. Nobody else. But no, I get what you're saying, and I completely agree. It's something that we deserve to see more often. And, like, there is something different. Like, we talked about this at the World Juniors. It's like, why is the World Juniors my favorite hockey of the year? Because guys get up to a different level when they put their country's jersey on, period. In any sport, for any country. When you are on a national team for something, it's not something I've ever experienced myself, but you see it over and over again. When a guy or a girl puts on a national team jersey, they are amped up to the most that they can physically be. And it is something special that I think, like you said, it's the best way to grow the game. And I think this little tournament here has been a home run for the league and for the sport.
Yeah, it has been. And they also, again, they hit the right timeline. They got right after the Super Bowl. The NBA is kind of going into the All-Star break. They're in a lull anyway because,
NBA is a joke right now, but that's
well, no, their players literally are fighting fans on Twitter,
well,
and they wonder why the people aren't watching. It's because of stuff like that. Meanwhile, you have this where guys are going out there. They're not, again, I get you're getting paid a bit to play. They're not getting paid NHL contracts to go out and fight in the first 10 seconds of an international hockey game.
no.
Like, they're going out there and it actually means something to them. And again, that crowd, everyone was there for warm up. Everybody was there for warm up.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the NHL has kind of got that right here now that like it is a fan sport. Like fans do pay for the seats, they pay for the TV packages, they pay for the food. They want to see this. And I'm okay with it being the NHL doing it. It doesn't have to be the Olympics.
I prefer the NHL doing it, so at least you can have fights.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the Olympics, but just give us the events. Like, just have them. And I also, the last thing I'm going to say, I think this worked out really well having it in season. It's way better.
Well, because the guys are prepared, they're warmed up.
They're prepared. People are into hockey season right here. When it's September, it's not really you're not seeing the best product at that time. I think this is the right time of year to have it too. You're in a lull too. Baseball hasn't started. The NFL's over. I think this is the right time to have events like that.
Yeah, I think it's been absolutely great. Okay, so final predictions here for the gold medal game. You said 5-2 Canada. You want to stick with that?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with 2-1 for Canada in an overtime thriller.
Wow, so you're a big Jordan Binnington guy.
I'm okay, fine. 3-2 in overtime. All right, that make you happy since I chirped Binnington a little bit there. Okay, 3-2 Canada in overtime. Golden goal. Sidney Crosby.
Golden goal, Mark Stone.
Oh, I'd love that. Stone, McKinnon, or Crosby, any one of them can score. I'd be happy. Anyone can score as long as Canada wins. I don't really care if John Cooper straps on his gear and goes and scores.
Honestly, look, I'll hate it if the U.S. win, but like, this is a win. This is great. I love that we're.
I'll hate it if the U.S. win, but I actually love how they've constructed their team.
Yeah, I do too. I really like their team.
Like, it's really hard not to like them, and I don't like cheering for U.S. hockey for sure. But yeah, it's been a hell of a tournament, and I'm sure at some point here we'll have some quick reactions after the final, and otherwise it'll be back to some more regularly scheduled 2025 draft programming. Boys, I think this is a great place to leave off, and as we look forward to the next couple days.
I mean, yeah. Well, I guess we'll just hopefully there's no more injuries, or maybe you'll see Jake Sanderson hurt his neck. That might be what
Oh, yeah. We'll see if Hughes is in there. That's a nice X factor for them. But looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And go Canada, go! Thanks as always for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, boys.
See you guys.